Hello there, my name is Ann Hamlin, the Public Library Services Consultant for Wisconsin Valley Library Service. In this digital bite, we're going to be walking through spring cleaning tips to keep your website up to date. You'll need to walk through each of your pages, but before you even get started, scroll down to the bottom of your page and make sure the information on your footer is correct. If you have a copyright date, make sure that copyright date is current. If anything on your website, regular content, footer content, slide image content, is not up to date, you can bet that visitors using your website will think that your website is not up to date and the information on it is not valid. So even if you are keeping most things up to date and maybe the footer is incorrect or there's a broken link or something, your website users are going to assume that all the information is not helpful and they're going to navigate away. First things first, walk through your home page. Check your footer, and if you have a copyright date in your footer, make sure that has the current date on there. And that also your hours and your location, maybe you have a map down there, are correct. Next, you're going to walk through each page. So on our home page, we have a slider that posts the most up-to-date information. If this slider had information from 2017, 2015, again, visitors are going to assume that your website is not being kept up to date and that there's no good information for them here. Second, your regular content. So content that you park on your website that you don't regularly need to update, such as a blurb for the digital library with information about Libby. You don't need to update that all the time, but you should still be checking your content to make sure that is accurate and up to date. Most importantly, when you're looking through your regular content, click on everything. If it has a hyperlink, you want to make sure that link is functioning. If someone clicks on a link that is dead or leads them to an error page because the link is no longer valid, they're going to assume everything on your website is not valid and they'll click away from your website. So what do I mean when I say click on a link? So here there's a read more button. I'm going to click on it and make sure it goes to where I expect it to, and it sure does. It leads me to a blog post. Next, when I scroll down the screen, there is a blurb or an image that is linked, and I can tell that because the mouse becomes a pointer versus just an arrow. So I'm going to click on this Gale Courses image, and sure enough, it's going to lead me to the Wisconsin Valley Library Service Gale Courses homepage. Let's check the next link. It looks like Gale Courses, this title text is also linked, and it is functioning. Lastly, the actual content is linked and it's functioning. Second, I can click on the Meet Libby image, and sure enough, it leads me to the digital library page where there's more information about Libby. Lastly, I'll click on Badger Link. You get the idea. You can go through each page and click on the links that you have included to make sure they are active. Lastly, if you have seasonal images, let's say we had a picture of winter behind this header content. Well, if it's the middle of summer and you have a picture of winter on your web page as a background image, again, your website users are going to assume your content is out of date and you do not pay attention to your content, or you do not pay attention to your website. Let's check another page just to demonstrate these pieces again. I chose the Makerspace and Equipment for Booking page to walk through these steps again because I know it needs to be updated. First, remember, the first point is to check through your content, especially the footer on your website. Now, the footer of your website should be the same across all of your pages. So I'm looking here and the footer is up to date. Next, we look through all of the regular content, which means we read through the text on our page to make sure it's up to date. So I'm going to scroll down the page and take a look as we go. And look at here. I see some error messages for images that are not showing. Right above the Breakout EDU Escape Room Kit, there should be an image, but I see that there is not. So I need to fix that. Let's continue scrolling down the page. I see that there is a link here, but it is not hyperlinked. That is a big mistake. So I want to go into here and make sure that this web link is hyperlinked so that users can click on that and go to the information destination. Okay, I'm also looking for seasonal images, and I do not see seasonal images like winter background themes. These images of available makerspace kits are up to date. There's none that have been decommissioned, so these are okay. I also want to stress the importance of updating your website. You'll see on the control bar up top here that there are 7 updates that need to happen. Now, with an update, it usually includes security updates. So if web developers have found a loophole in the code or a way that bad guys can get in, that's what updates usually patch. Or they add functionality. In this case, WVLS manages my website, so they take care of updates. If WVLS manages your website, you do not need to worry about updates. However, if you use a service for your website, make sure they're checking the contents of the update and checking all message boards to see if there's any issues happening because of the update. So finally, how are we supposed to remember all of these points? How are we supposed to remember that we need to be updating our website? A great tool is the Google Calendar reminder. You can set reminders monthly, bi-monthly, seasonally, to pop up on your calendar to remind you to go onto your website and look through the content. If you don't use Google Calendars and you prefer a physical calendar, right now, stop what you're doing for 10 seconds and open up your calendar to maybe monthly, every other month, or quarterly, and write a physical reminder on your physical calendar to go to your website and check your content. Thank you for joining me for this digital bite on spring cleaning tips for your website.